What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark, and it's Sunday, so that means this is at week's end. The spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. And tonight I'm joined by some usual faces as well as a special guest. If you want to see who it is and break down this week's comics, TV shows, news, and so much more, check this out. Huge shout out and thank you to Big Time Collectibles for sponsoring the channel and the monthly Legion Loot giveaway. Be sure to check them out on Facebook or Instagram and always check in on BigTimeCollectibles.com. Do not miss out on any of the amazing stuff they're doing. They just dropped those Miko Suyon mystery boxes yesterday. If you're lucky, they might have some left. Be sure to check. If you need anything cleaned or pressed, hit up our friend Justin Comic on Instagram. He can take care of you. And if you use that promo code WeAreLegion, you can take advantage of the special offer that he has running currently. So let's get right into it. Like I said, we have some usual faces in here. We've got my heterosexual life partner from the Great White North, as always, Chris the Comic Vet. What is up?
What's up? That was quite the intro, or lack thereof.
You like that? You like that?
I was laughing because I knew
we ran the usual timer, and I'm so worn out that I sat here, watched the timer go, waiting for it to end with the rest of everybody, but did not hit the live button. That's why we just got a straightforward intro. But we can do the timer if you need us to, Chris. and tonight we do have the tripod standing at full tilt. We do have that furry face from the Orange Circle himself, behind the new guy.
What's up? What's up?
I see you're still on the run.
Returning to the scene of the crime.
Yeah. And tonight, like we do have a special guest as well. You know, Ezra Miller's been making all kinds of splashes on the news. The Flash is everywhere. Moon Knight's being talked about everywhere. So what better person to invite to tonight than the embodiment of all of those things himself? Super fan of the Flash, super fan of Moon Knight, and we are a super fan of him. We've got Flash by Night himself. What is up?
What is going on? Thank you for the invite.
Dude, I'm glad you can make it because I've been thinking about it since Moon Knight was coming and everything. And then I'm just like working all these hours and I'm getting close to getting off work. I'm like, dude, I haven't messaged him yet. And I messaged you. And like, I send you the link when I leave. And it was like an hour and a half head start. I appreciate you being able to make it on short notice, man.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, tonight, per always, we'll kick off, say hey to people in the chat here in a minute, but we'll go through and talk about some news. There's been some interesting stuff that's happened this week. Nothing too crazy, really. And we'll talk some new comics. Between the four of us, there's a lot of new comics. Ryan's helping out to keep the number down. But we probably won't go through all of them. We probably won't go through all of them.
Shots fired.
We'll spotlight some of the highlights and maybe mention some of the lowlights and not waste any time on those. But we're going to be talking Moon Knight this week. Last week, Chris and I said we would, and we both completely forgot by the time it went over. So it was one of those duh moments. But let's say hey to people real quick. What is going on, Paul Rogers? Hello to all. # We Are Legion. LCS owner always showing up to support. I appreciate that. Wheelchair Superhero 87 is up in the building, who just celebrated his birthday last night with an awesome stream. Very, very cool.
Happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, we're doing great. X11 Bravo Comics. Who knows what evil lurks in the heart of men? I love that quote. Growing up, The Flash was always one of my go-to movies to watch. Lamont Cranston is the man. He is such a cool character. Let's see. Vincent McLean, the Comic Machine. What up in here? Just playing Halo Infinite. So we were talking about the Halo show before this. I unfortunately do not have access to it. We got Robert Saltzman, my good man from right here. He's about to get married. So as a Nintendo 64 player, I'm not beholden to this Halo show being anything like the game. So I'm just looking forward to catching a cool action sci-fi show. That's all I want. Some cool action.
That's on,
That it is. Very sci-fi.
that one's on Paramount, right?
Yeah, so I downloaded Paramount. I'm like, let me see. And then they're like, give us $4.99. I'm like, not today.
Guess
I'll wait
what?
for the show to come out first.
In the ongoing saga of T-Mobile just like constantly hooking me up with things that I shouldn't deserve, they actually gave me a year of Paramount Plus like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
So we'll
And I
talk
totally
after.
forgot. I have not seen the show. I haven't watched it, but I was gonna do like you and kind of wait till it was all out and then like free trial it all. And then
Yeah.
I was like looking through my emails the other day, and it was like, "Hey, don't forget to like watch this." And I like clicked on it, and it loaded, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. T-Mobile gave me a free year of it." Like
What
a
was
couple
the other one they gave you? You got Disney Plus for a year one time or something?
No, Disney Plus is the only one I pay for, but I have Apple Plus for free because of them, Paramount Plus for free because of them, and Peacock for free because of them. So T-Mobile's kind of paying off, to be honest.
Sounds
and I
good.
get
Clearly, I
because of
need to
Snap,
move to the
so-
States. Never mind healthcare.
T-Mobile's like,
All
keep
these
giving us money.
Free streaming services. They're worth it.
Team Nerdy in the building. What is going on? We got Warlord up in here, channel member. One of the newer channel members. Definitely appreciate that. DJ Links, the man, the myth, the legend. What up, everybody? We got Pop's Attic up in here. Let's go. Digger Jim. Dude, he found some cool stuff metal detecting today. I saw some keys. Some coins.
Jim, I think you found my keys, my man.
Yeah, I dropped those.
I lost those down in the south. Yeah.
Flash by Night is in the Heezy, baby. Yeah, less than a week away. Yeah, Kyle and me were talking about the wedding day. And unfortunately, it looks like she's going, what's it called, stag? Finn and Monkey will be her date to the wedding because I am stuck working. It's next weekend. Yeah, next Saturday. There isn't a bed behind Ryan. Something's not right. Yeah. He's a man on the run. Dale of Suspense. What is up? What is up? Flo Dameron is up in the building. Steven C. Good to see you. What up, Legionnaires? He just won as well on Ruben's giveaway, I think. His celebration. A bunch of winners in the chat. Yeah, dude, I really wish I could be there. It's you can imagine you're local. You know how this week is. So it's the aftermath, and I have to allow all of my staff to get off days and recoup. You know, I couldn't walk into work looking at tired faces, knowing that I just rested first. I can't do that to them. Can't do it. Ryan, when are you going to make up with the wife? She'll let you back in the house. Well, due to the time frame, I'll put it out there. This is the only way Ryan can make it. It's kind of a hiding thing.
He's still taking out the garbage.
You know, I was on the verge of apologizing, and then I turned on some Tom Petty during our commute today, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to back down. Let's stand around.
You're standing at the gates of hell, and you ain't going back down. Good for you.
Well, do any of you guys have anything that y'all want to start off kind of talking about? Anything that's hit? Any news?
Yeah, so there a couple things went to auction this week that I know a lot of people are going to be interested in. One of the big things from our childhood was the death of Superman, and recently that spreadsheet, that gatefold where Lois is holding the body of Superman after he dies from his confrontation, sold for $500,000 at auction. The artist, I believe, is John Bogdanov. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name.
I think you said it perfect.
Okay, but yeah, that piece of artwork that where Superman passes away after his battle with Doomsday,
$500,000
went for $500,000 at auction. But it gets better. It gets better. A 9.4, original art. An incredible 9.4 Captain America #1 went to auction and sold for over $3 million at Heritage.
Woo!
Cap #1 and a 9.4. My goodness, that's an.
I feel like that's granted, that's like a lot of money, you know, but I don't even operate in that arena of even make, you know what I mean? Not even make believe, but I feel like that's a good deal for that book. That's
at 9.4 for $3 million. Captain America #1. I would agree. Like, to me, that should be something.
Still didn't take the title, though, did it?
Still did not take the
But
title.
there it is. Beckerman with the save. Bogdanovich.
Thanks, Bogdanovich.
Wow.
Yes,
So, yeah,
John
you said it perfectly.
Bogdanovich.
Hey, yo, Nick's Kicks and Comics is up in the building. What is going on? We got Mad Spoity, and that was for you, Nick. I know you're saying it right now behind your keyboard.
He's probably just said it like 3 times.
Here's a question. How does a book that old get to be a 9.4?
Yeah,
It always astonishes me when books older than my parents are that high grade.
There's a couple of factors that go into it. For one, books of that age and in that time era are not graded with the same chart that moderns are.
Mhm.
They are graded with a more subjective chart or something more fair to it.
Graded on a curve.
It's got a chart based on its age and everything to begin with. And then to add to it, there's things like, well, we were talking about it earlier, so that's why this came to mind, but the Edgar Church collection, which was like one of the largest pedigree, high-grade collections that had ever been discovered. Chuck, the guy who owns Mile High, found it, and it was not bagged and boarded. It was all just set nicely in boxes, but because of where it was geographically, it was like low humidity, moderate temperatures. They were read once, put away, so there was no natural deterioration happening, or at least not at the rate that we would see it or what we would expect, because it was kind of just, it was such a perfect place, perfect setting kind of thing, perfect scenario.
You could have just said not Houston.
Exactly, just not Houston. But those books were like all from like early golden agers, and Action Comics one in there that the guy didn't believe in like doing anything more with them, but it's like one of the higher grade copies of Action Comics that exists, that's known to exist, came out of a collection where it's set for like 60 years, not even bagged and boarded.
Right. The rocket ship. Mm-hmm.
And that's just how all of this stuff. Yeah, and that's another thing. It's surviving the World War II paper drives. Like
Right.
that's really impressive.
Or the 80s.
Yeah, there it is. Spidey. I like how he's updated the way he spelt it. Because last time there were some O's and I's in there.
I feel like that's supposed to be an O and I in there.
Yeah, Spidey. How did it survive the crack era? Was reading my We Live Legion loot crate swag. Yeah, congrats to Nick for winning the big one. It's going to be a little while before that happens on that level again. Like I told everyone, the last Legion loot giveaway approximate value was $492. The next one, $7. It's only fair. It's only fair. I got to recoup. Not really. It'll be way better than that, but still. See, I'm just looking through my Instagram. I found the new trick. I always forget stuff throughout the week. But Zack Snyder is working on a new sci-fi epic called Rebel Moon that I was completely not aware of. But it's apparently he's going to be doing more stuff with Netflix, which is exciting. That last zombie movie he did was pretty fun. I mean, it was a zombie movie, but it was still fun. But this is supposed to be something that he likened it to, like the way he sees it is like the way that he filmed the opening scene of Man of Steel when they were on Krypton. Mm-hmm. Like just that action sci-fi stuff. And he said he's kind of worked this off of an original pitch that he had for a Star Wars installment that got passed up on. So he's kind of twerked it. So it's a girl kind of like getting a rebellion together against a tyrannical galactic governing body and stuff. So that's the news where I finally caught it. They announced I saw it for the first time today, where they said that it's they're kind of leaning into it. I guess they're going to split it into 2 parts so they can tell it in its entirety. So he's doing big stuff at Netflix.
Yeah,
hopefully it'll pan out.
That zombie movie was a good movie, full of hockey bags. I enjoyed it. I
like the fact that DJ gets it. Yeah, dude, that hockey bag conversation, I've never laughed so hard online in my life. That was the moment. We got Tyler up in the building. What is happening? Super Pet's got an official movie poster spotlighting the Justice League that's going to be in. I know that's not a big thing.
Magog is officially coming to the CW in the Earth Prime series that's coming. So for those readers of Kingdom Come, he's coming.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the only other thing that I would honestly like to mention, if the DC Round Robin 2022 is in like mid-swing, the first round of voting came and went. Half the titles got knocked off. Second round of voting came, and I think it's closed now, right, Ryan?
Actually, I was gonna bring that up, but
Go
no,
ahead,
some
talk about
disappointing time-sensitive news and a link for everybody. We have 4 hours left on it from what I'm looking at. So click that link that I just dropped and go over there and vote, because currently somehow
Don't say it.
Constantine and the Demon is 49% under the 51% for Hawkman and Hawkwoman. So
Come on.
please rectify that,
Come
people.
on.
Go vote right now. Literally right now. Please
What's wrong
go
with
vote. We got
people?
4 hours.
Who doesn't want a good Hawk woman?
Come on, man.
Yeah.
This is John Constantine
I wouldn't be so
out here.
against the idea of the Hawkman story if it wasn't for a lazy concept. Because you get the synopsis of the story, and it's the plot of WandaVision. You know, Hawkman and Hawkwoman wake up one day to find that their kids are there, but they don't know how they even had kids or where the kids came from, and everything seems normal except to one person. I'm like, dude, I just watched that show.
Yeah.
It was all right.
And And it's up. I wouldn't even hate it that much if it wasn't up against Constantine and the Demon, Vacation from Hell. Like, how cool of a concept is this? I mean, come on. We got to rectify this situation. The other votes are for Suicide Squad Dark versus Kid Flash. Currently, Kid Flash has 53% on that one.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And the Suicide Squad Dark concept, honestly, I'll admit, is not the strongest thing I would have come up with for Suicide Squad Dark. But it is written by Zach Thompson. Big fan of him and fellow Canadian. So go vote for that one. You have Ghost Tour from Hell is at 51% over Green Lantern, The Light at the End of Forever.
That's not even possible. They're just messing with the numbers at this point.
Yeah, that's got to be incorrect as well. Green Lantern's a franchise character. Never mind. Sorry. Continue on.
And then the final vote on round 2 right now is Green Lantern, The Birth of Conspiracy, which is an Alan Scott story.
I need it.
Oh.
And he's losing to Superboy at 57%. So,
but that's kind of like a win-win for me, because it's, you know, I don't know. I like Superboy. Like, pick one. They're all enjoyable for me, but you're not going to top Alan Scott on my list with Superboy. Not even Jonathan Kent. Like, I need that Alan Scott.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about Constantine. Like, if that one can please win, I would love to read Constantine and the Demon. So,
Agreed.
Yeah, go fix that situation for me, please.
We did just get a couple of issues during the Future State that when Ron B first took over the Justice League Dark, they introduced a concept that Etrigan the Demon was not tethered to Jason Blood, that's his primary tethering. It was Detective Chimp. It was Bobo, and that made for some of the most entertaining aspects of it. Just
it was so cool.
The Demon is just top tier Kirby creation for me.
Yeah, that's what led me into Ron V, and then we got Swamp Thing, and I was just like,
I'm gonna murder you, DJ.
Wow.
Yeah, but in all sincerity, you guys,
I'm already on the lamp.
Who Ryan or myself. You don't have to vote for who Ryan and myself would rather you vote for. We definitely would prefer if you did, at least on that one.
Yeah.
But go vote all the same. It's really fun. It's super fun. Get engaged with it.
Yeah.
You know, we actually have a say so in what we get to read.
Yeah.
The other little bit of news. Sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, not to like bring politics into anything, but the most important thing to me is that people vote. Anytime you have a chance to have your voice heard, go vote. So I would love for you to make the same choice as I do, obviously. But vote.
This is backfiring quickly.
Vote. Nobody vote.
Come on.
We're gonna get the Hawkman vision. Hawk vision. There we go.
It probably won't be bad. You know, it's been a while since we had that Savage Hawkman series, but I'm gonna go like I don't know. Right now, Justice League Dark characters in general, like they're just on right now for me.
The other little bit of news I had was coming July 2022, Hawkman, aka Awesome Man.
Yeah.
Just Hawkman's so good in the cold because he doesn't wear a shirt.
Absolutely, man. Anything else dropped this week? Any news or anything? I know that I don't know if we mentioned it last week. Miss Marvel got her official rating for the upcoming Disney Plus TV show that it'll be TV PG. So it's It's like written in stone that it is for the younger audience.
Mm-hmm. That was expected. I think
Yeah,
they're trying to capture that audience for like the next phase, you know.
I don't think it's no secret that Ezra Miller is all over the place in the news and everything. Just it's nothing happened again with him, but it's just the consequences of what happened with the bar scene and the following, what was it, restraining order that was attached to the same situation. But it looks like there's been a lot of rumors and ruffles coming out of the WB wing where they sat down for an emergency meeting. They're halting future projects. We have the current Harry Potter show or movie or whatever that he's a part of. I don't Harry Potter, but he's in some movie that just came out that has to do with Harry Potter. And then the Flash movie obviously was pushed back till next year before all of this, but now they're looking at potentially what to do moving forward. And I said it in our little group chats. This is the easiest and best opportunity to replace an actor of a character in the history of television or film. It's just built into his power set, you know, just the movie's filmed, alter an ending, have him die heroically in a crisis level runoff, and then at the end, bring in Wally West or bring in another Barry Allen. We already have established there's multiple Barry Allens. We've seen Grant Gustin and Ezra share screen time together. Do not bring Grant Gustin to the big screen. Bring us the next theatrical Flash. And Flash, you need to weigh in on this. What are your thoughts?
I'm on the same boat. If for some reason they decide, because if you bring Grant Gustin, like you've got to bring the whole cast and crew. You don't have to do the same stories they do on TV, but I don't think you can bring Grant Gustin without bringing Candace Patton and a couple of other people. I would show Ezra Miller the door kindly and find a new actor. I said to find one that looks like the Barry Allen or close to the Barry Allen in the comics. Well, give him a little bit of blonde hair or something. I'm not sure if his eyes are blue or not, but yeah, give him blonde hair and find somebody who can do it, and I'll be in.
Yeah, Ezra.
I mean,
really,
they'll get my money either way, but I'd like to think that maybe they'll make some good choices.
Maybe. Well, that kind of segues right into the next kind of topic. Maybe they will now because it's official. It is 100% official. The merger, the acquisition of Warner Brother by Discovery or Discovery by what? The merger is complete. It's now Warner Brother Discovery, which they've already started clearing house, which this has been talked about for a long time since this merger started. Walter Hamada, who's been the overseer of all the film properties and stuff in DC and all that, because we started talking about it on here in relation to the Snyder cut when it came out, which Walter Hamada was the guy who worked for WB who did not want it to happen. And it happened because of people at HBO. Mm-hmm. Then it was a huge success. And then Walter Hamada started pushing to kind of do some more stuff. Like, well, let's do some more. And all the big wigs are saying, no, let's sit around and let's wait. Let's do this merger thing and see what happens. And reportedly, the guy who is in charge of that same kind of division for Discovery is a Snyder Stuff fan. And he was coming over, and it was kind of known, like, when this guy gets here, he's going to take Hamada's job. I mean, it's just his job. It's no bad feelings or anything. Like, I'm coming over here to do that job, and now, so it's kind of weird to see. It's not weird, but it's kind of interesting to think about what could possibly be moving forward. Like, if they're smart, in my opinion, they would play it all. Like, you have multiple platforms, you have multiple storylines already, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you can have like a running timeline, just like in the comics. You know, this movie's followed by this movie, but the Batman stands on its own, and this TV show is just this TV show. Right. It's not tied in with anything. It's not contingent upon anything else. Peacemaker was only contingent upon the Suicide Squad movie, nothing else. You know, you can do that so easily and make quality stuff. So I'm excited to see what they do.
Cross that over into the Zack Snyder world, into the Snyderverse, because we had two characters speak from the Justice League in that, even though they showed two were actually given FaceTime. Yeah, my fingers are crossed that we get Cavill back as Superman and that we get Man of Steel 2. And yeah, Ezra Miller, he did something a few years ago with that girl. I believe he took a woman down physically, and then now this, like that. Hey man, once bitten, twice shy. Like it.
I always wondered if there was some kind of weird setup, if that was something, if they knew each other or
Yeah,
because it
nothing
looks
ever
like,
nothing ever became of it though. Right?
And they were laughing as he's strangling them too.
yeah. So I didn't know what to make of it, but it was weird either way.
Yeah,
Like,
I assume that he knew
guys
her.
in public, don't make it look bad. If you work for us, there are a few rules. We're not gonna drug test you. We're not gonna bother you with a whole bunch of things. Just don't attack women in public. Don't look like that.
Look, you can, you can drink and drive. Just don't strangle women.
Life rules.
Yeah,
It's such a low bar, and you still couldn't do it.
He's a PR nightmare for like a major corporation. You know, like it's a tough one. I would like to see a more like fresh blood approach to it. Like, give us Wally West. Give us we have Jaime Reyes is in works for Blue Beetle, right? That's still a thing. So we got that. We could get Wally West. We could get a Terry McGinnis. We can get a Virgil Hawkins. Get like some fresh blood. These characters that people, you know, like the mainstream kind of vaguely knows, but
Virgil's
there's enough
coming.
interest to like.
Announced. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's awesome. You know, but like these are characters that people have enough vague knowledge of that would pull them in. They're like, oh, wait, I want to know more about this character. When you throw Superman and Batman out there, people are interested, obviously, but at the same time, there's not that same level of intrigue as like fresh blood, something people don't really know. And so that's kind of what I would like them to see. I would like to see them start working on is building like this younger, newer universe of like characters that are just right outside of people's, you know, real know and knowledge base. And that way they'll kind of like jump on it.
To me, Batman, Superman, like to me, it's the villains. Like for Superman, for example, how like we've had Zod twice now, 2 different times, you know, in Man of Steel and in Superman 2. Like it's time for a brand new villain, just a brand new scenario, whether it's Bizarro. But yeah, like most common Superman fans would say it's time for Brainiac. And, you know, like the Batman film just showed that, okay, we did have the Jim Carrey Riddler show up, but that was just a play off the old 66 Riddler, in my opinion. And so, you know, the Frank Gershom one. So the fact that we had a brand new take on it, yeah, I'm all for it. I think Batman Beyond is in the wheelhouse of just the common fan because it was a cartoon. You know, a lot of these characters that were a part of people's childhood, they'll remember. But you know, again, a lot of these characters that have been portrayed in the last 15 years, you don't necessarily have to give up on them either. In other news, in July 2022, we're getting a new Batman logo. So this logo is finally going. Like we've had this one for 11 years now.
Yeah. Oh, on the comic itself or on his chest?
On the comic. So we'll have a new trade dress logo. A new trade dress logo for Batman in July.
Have they shown it yet or just announced it?
No, it was just announced 2 days ago, I believe.
Yeah, I saw the headline where they announced it in the art on the headline for the thumbnail for it was Jorge Jimenez. Y'all get mad when I say it wrong. But he didn't have the yellow circle around it. And I assumed like we just got the yellow circle back. I thought the article was in relation to.
No, just the trade dress logo. We're finally getting a new one. I think that's the one that came in with the new 52 logo, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
The new trade dress logo, I'm not like super into. I don't hate it. It's pretty like meh, but they're doing this weird thing where like the extensions on the letters, you know, are supposed to do the bat symbol, but then they've also upgraded that to include the like bat silhouette inside of the letters. And so it comes off as if they're trying to make that like the drop shadow of the letters or something, except for it doesn't line up enough to actually be a drop shadow. It's like super nitpicky, but it just looks really weird whenever you look at it. I kind of wish they would just like drop the bottom of the letters, just make it flat across and then have the Batman silhouette inside of it. And I think it looks a lot better that way.
Nice.
Well, Spider-Man's logo hasn't changed since the 60s. I don't know why they keep messing with Batman, but hey.
Pretty close. It is on the me syllable of Jimenez. Is that better, Yiggy? Legacy, Flashpoint, Batman, and Batman Beyond. Yeah, both of which are getting featured heavily this month.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Oh, there is some Tom King news for you, Flo.
What's this dude stealing Chris's trademark?
He has permission. He has permission. That's okay.
Who stole your trademark?
Ryan, he's in the car.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
Man, I was in the car before.
I remember
Matt
those
was in the
days.
car.
Oh, don't you say you were doing it before me. That's not true.
That is true, man. I was doing it on Instagram though, not YouTube.
I don't have an accent. You have an accent. But yeah, don't worry, Flo. There will be Tom King talk at some point tonight because Batman Killing Time issue number 2 did drop this week, and Ryan said it was so good that he's not even going to review it.
Jimenez. Jorge Jimenez.
All right, so because I know that we're going to forget if we don't do it, but
I don't think one guy here won't allow us to forget it.
Yeah, let's talk some Moon Knight. Let's definitely talk some Moon Knight. So we're going to be talking episodes 1 and 2 because we haven't done that yet. Because me and Chris dropped the ball.
Yeah, there was other things.
Yeah, there was.
Masters talk.
Well, we're definitely going to test that theory. But yeah, all right.
Thanks.
Initial thoughts. 2 episodes in. Yay, nay, maybe. Feeling it, not feeling it.
You want to go around the horn?
Go ahead.
I'm just not feeling it. I know TJ is a big Moon Knight fan. I'm just not feeling. I thought the second episode was better than the first. His interaction with his ex-wife. I think his ex-wife. I thought that was cool to witness. But just the whole, I'm just not feeling it yet. I'm just not feeling it. Maybe I'm still looking at Oscar Isaac as his Dune character. Maybe that's just a problem. But I'm just not feeling it yet. The whole battle scene when he got the batarangs back, for lack of a better term, I thought that looked cool. The special effects look cool, but they spent a lot of time dedicated to him being chased by nothing inside that museum, and that kind of was a little bit of a lunch bag letdown. I think Burke just put up there. It's a 5 out of 10. I wholeheartedly agree with him. I'm along for the ride, but it's just I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet.
Flash, go ahead.
I won't go over the moon, but I am enjoying it. I'm in for the Moon Knight ride, but that's I'm invested in the character. I know a lot of people. I saw DJ saying that besmirching the name of Stephen Grant, because I think that's a lot of people's a lot of people's issue with Moon Knight. But I like Stephen Grant. Stephen Grant, if you went by the comics, should be this millionaire. I guess millionaire arm of Moon Knight, sort of. He's kind of the bankroll, even though the money actually comes from Mark being a mercenary and all the money he has in his bag and everything. He's probably got bags like that hidden all over the world. But I like it. I'm getting into I think the director called it a character study. Even though I remember I talked Mark was talking in the chat earlier this week, saying that Feige said that it's supposed to be, this brutal show, which it may still be, but that kind of, I don't know if it's a mixed message between him and the director calling it a character study, and I dig that aspect, but that's because I'm a Moon Knight guy. I kind of I feel, even though the thing in the minute or two in episode 2 with Steven and the suit was a little goofy, but I'm actually digging the Steven Grant we got because I feel for him because of the situation that he's in. But yeah, I'm really into the show. But like I said, maybe because I'm a Moon Knight guy, but I would like to know. I'd like to get a sense of what everybody who's not really a Moon Knight follower, how they're taking it in.
Well, I don't follow him in the comics. I read some of the David Finch run back in the mid 2000s, like when it started out, when he had like the broken legs and everything, and
yeah, the bottom,
swearing to Khonshu because of his condition and wondering how he ever got there, and the artwork was just astounding, like amazing. Yeah. But besides
I think it was my first full story with Moon Knight. I didn't start collecting or reading until around the Lemire run, but my first full story reading was going back to check out Finch in Houston.
It was cool, and I didn't finish it out. Like, I don't even remember how much I read. I was working at the LCS at the time of that coming out, so I'd kind of just like reading books that are in the shop. But it was cool.
Yeah. But this funny thing about this story is
this seems like a very far cry from that. So it makes me feel like still completely unfamiliar with the character. You know, that was too small of a sample size to really have a firm understanding of the character. And I guess you could say the same with any character. If you just read a small little run, you don't really have any kind of basis to go off of.
One other thing about the character, or the character in comics, is that you've got, I don't know, 8, 10, 12 different writers over time that have all had wildly different takes. Like you could probably read Batman books from the last 30 or 40 years, and they do a little bit different, but they're kind of steady. Like, depending on who's writing, Moon Knight may or may not have because Mitch, the guy who created Moon Knight, didn't want him to have DID. Somebody who was a guest writer kind of snuck it in to an issue, and then they kind of roll with it. But depending on who's writing, he's a wildly different person from
one of the things that's kind of bothering me. And this is a problem with myself, not with the stuff that they're doing, but like everyone that just jumps on like these bandwagons, like, oh, this is the first time they're addressing mental health in a comic show. This is awesome. Let's virtue signal our balls off about it. And I'm like, dude, did y'all not watch WandaVision? Have you never seen a Hulk show? Like, and I'm trying to intentionally avoid villains, because you can pick a villain, but not to villainize mental health stuff, because I saw that as a common like rebuttal to that. But like it's very prevalent in almost all comic book properties, and like they're just, but so that's like really nothing new at all. And the whole topics of it, like I was expecting, I don't know, this whole time since Disney Plus started the shows, I've been waiting on them to take risks and really innovate this platform thing, because streaming platforms are really starting to hit their stride. Like, Netflix has been around for a while, but now we have all of these solid streaming platforms, and you have one where you're bringing in this awesome relationship with the theater experience, with your home experience, and making stuff matter. And I remember when they were getting ready to start WandaVision, like the hopes that I had to see that. And it seems like everything that we start, we end right where we started. You know, like we started Falcon and Winter Soldier with Sam having the shield, being the new Captain America, just hadn't put the costume on yet. And then he gives away the shield. They go through all this stuff. They got to get it back. And we end right where we started with Sam having the shield. And that's just how it's like, there's no risk. So when they said Moon Knight was coming and everyone was talking about it's going to be like this harder, grittier, edgier thing, and I said, no way. The Disney platform is not geared for that. They're not ready for that. And then in the time from that announcement to the show coming out, they moved over the Netflix catalog. Boom. You can do it now. You've got the Marvel Knights catalog on there now. Like, The Punisher is a hard R-rated show. It checks off every one of the R-rated boxes. Mm-hmm. So now, like, dude, they're going in. They're finally going to deliver. And then we get Moon Knight, and I'm like, okay, the first episode was just meh, but it was a first episode. And we get the second episode, and I'm like, Like I'm interested to see what's going to happen, but I'm not getting any of that dynamic sense. And
I just
what,
kind
when he went out the window and he hit his head and landed as Mr. Knight, I'm like, oh, something's about to happen. Then he bumbles around, like you said, it just went straight goof.
But he's not Mr. Knight.
Who was that character?
He has the suit. He has the suit on, but I won't consider him Mr. Knight until he has a scenario like in the comics where he needs to be Mr. Knight. Like Mr. Knight in the comics was basically the stand-in because Moon Knight was on. This is around or after Civil War. Moon Knight is like on the radar because he can't be Moon Knight in public, and so in order to assist the local PD and kind of assist the neighborhood, he is Mr. Knight. He is not this character Moon Knight because Moon Knight is to be arrested and locked up on site. So, honestly, I don't know. I'm wondering, unless there's a big swerve at the end, I'm wondering if you can even get or need Mr. Knight this time because I don't think they're, at least now, I don't think they're going street level anywhere.
Oh no.
I think it's mostly supernatural, and they may not go street level with Moon Knight anytime soon. Which I think is the persona you would need for Mr. Knight.
I think that they can get it really complex. Obviously, I don't know how much time they have to do that in with 6 episodes. And you and I were talking, like, I'm expecting the episode 3 to be our origin filler. You know,
a little more origin because he has so many layers. If you really want to peel back the layers of Moon Knight, like I said, they can spend the whole 6 episodes without throwing a punch and peeling the layers off of Moon Knight and Mark Spector and Steven and Jake, if we ever see him, and all of these relationships that we kind of know exist. Frenchie, which I'm not. Somebody pointed out to me they may not actually call him Frenchie because, like 2022, you might not be able to call him Frenchie. But Frenchie's name comes up on his cell phone once and kind of just flows past, and that's another person, another little onion layer you got to peel back if you're getting to know Moon Knight. So
you catch the little Easter egg, and Pops is ridiculously familiar with all of the comic lore and stuff. And in episode 1, when he was in his flat, there was a statue in there that he called by a name, and it was like the name of his Alfred, his Jarvis, like that he had back in the older comics, his man, but it was a statue in there. So obviously I'm assuming that they're not going to go
the guy in the chair.
The story letting him be like a rich playboy trope kind of thing, and they just Easter egged it instead.
I would like to see, and I think it's open for this to happen. But I would like to see now that Steven is in the back seat and riding and watching Mark for the time being, I would like to see Steven actually get to know what Mark is doing and then be, for lack of better words, be responsible enough for Mark to give him this money and let him be the playboy billionaire front for whatever Mark is doing. I would like that for Steven sometime in the future. Because I think Steven's actions and how he's acting, I think is how any of us will. Okay, some of it is how any of us will act if we woke up one day and found out that we're one half of what we think is this murderous person murdering people everywhere for this god that we thought was just mythological Khonshu. And then we don't sleep much. We try not to sleep. We're having to tie ourselves down. I think Steven, I think a lot of the things we see from Steven is because of the situation he lives in. Crawley is there. Crawley is the little gold man that Steven's talking to. is actually an informant for Moon Knight in the comics. I assume that's going to come into play sometime soon. But now I'm really spoiling. I'm spoiling things for things that may or may not happen.
Welcome to At Weeks In.
Right.
I thought it was kind of weird though.
I do like to have some surprises still sitting in the background for people.
Did you guys find that the dog and the supernatural demons, for lack of a better term, I guess the Egyptian things that Moon Knight dealt with in episode 1 and I guess the second episode, that they look exactly like the bad creatures from the Eternals? Like it was almost exactly the same thing. I kind of thought they cheaped out on that special effects.
Well, did they cheap out or
borrow?
Maybe, but if it's the same effect from a high budget movie, I get what you're saying. They could have been more original.
I don't know, they looked Egyptian to me. The Deviants
they do kind of follow the. I'm not.
I thought it looked very similar.
Yeah.
I'm not an Egyptian. Well, maybe they should be. I wonder if there is some kind of crossover between the two. Because in the end, you have two groups of old forces, which are these Egyptian gods, and then the Eternals, who are like millions of years old or whatever it may be. So there may be some kind of crossover. I don't know if Disney thought that far into it, but there may be some kind of crossover.
That'd be pretty cool. What do you expect to see it out of the next episode, y'all? What are you wanting to see? What direction do you hope they take this?
They come stateside. I like to see it. I would like to see them come stateside. Yeah, I do love America, but yeah, I'd like to see them come stateside and just see how Moon Knight then all of a sudden gets filmed and it gets put into into the mainstream media consciousness. Because I know Moon Knight, when it comes to Marvel crossovers and big events, Moon Knight is always not there. Like he wasn't a part of Secret Wars or those kind of things. He's off doing his own thing. But we all know that he's street level plus as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. But I think it's bring him stateside. He's been over in the UK for a bit. Let's see what happens. But I'm sure they won't. I'm sure he'll stay over there.
Moon Knight doesn't get invited sometimes. Moon Knight was intentionally left out of or not invited to the Civil War by Cap and Iron Man. Both of them paid him a visit on their own and told him to basically stay out of it. And then he went and made somebody make him an ID card.
X11 Bravo said they want to see him solidify Mark Spector's background as a Leatherneck.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
and
he was a Merc.
I think we'll get maybe in episode 3 we'll get a lot of that, because now we get to go to Egypt. I'm really wondering with this Layla, because I think Layla's an existing character, but I really want to know if they're running with Layla as this long-term Mark Spector, Moon Knight, I won't say side character, but like wife or whatever the relationship is.
Love interest.
Because that's
I'll say it for you.
Because side character sounds. I don't know if anybody's wife is gonna want to have side character as their label, but that's kind of what it is.
I'm just hoping that we get a lot less Stephen Grant. Like, we've had 2 episodes of Stephen Grant. We only have 6 episodes of this. Like you mentioned, there's so many more layers to peel back. Oscar Isaacs is not contracted to do anything else beyond this. He's been very vocal that he really doesn't have any interest, nothing against it. He just would rather be doing other stuff. There's as right now, there's no foreseeable next anything with Moon Knight. This looks like it could just be a one-off series, which if it's good, fine. If not, we'll see what happens.
It would be interesting if he gains popularity and gains some kind of fan traction to have him back.
Dude, one thing I'm starting to notice is like Marvel has a huge, because of the Mouse Overlord, has a huge guarantee return on anything that they do,
Yeah.
whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And you have just you have like coattail riders all day long for it. No matter how good or how bad something is, you have the people that are just going to sing its praises. But you are seeing more and more people getting vocal about stuff that's lackluster. You know, like look at Eternals. You know, look at the first 2 episodes of this coming from getting mixed reviews, for more or less positive, but not just like just all out praise. Look how critical people have been about a lot of the Disney Plus TV shows. You know, like there's really a high bar that's been set, and I feel like the entire MCU is just floundering since the Infinity Saga. There was such clear direction. There was such amazing stuff happening, you know, and not all of it landed, but it was all worth the ride, minus Captain Marvel. And since then, they've just been throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, and it's really been hit or miss. And I came to the conclusion because I was talking to Pops, like the Infinity Saga was handed to Disney. Marvel owned Marvel Studios and started the MCU. The Infinity Saga was mapped out. Granted, it might have had some schedule shifts, some changes, whatever. It was given to Disney. Since Disney has had to start creating on their own everything after that, it's compared to what came before it, you know.
Well, here's another issue I have, and it's not an issue with Disney, but I think when you talk about setting the bar high, even if Disney were to retrace the steps, beat for beat, to Infinity War or Endgame or whatever, that bar is already there. Like Infinity War and Endgame, the first 3 phases are a bar that's like 10 feet high, and you almost have to throw stuff at the wall to find something that is going to eventually eclipse.
I think that they're intentionally trying not to look back in comics, and they're trying to push forward in comics because they like it's just the medium right now. They feel like that's where it should where popularity should be happening, but it's not happening. Like I'm a firm believer that the only thing that can, and I say this term loosely, but save the MCU. I don't mean like financially. I mean like in its quality. You need the Fantastic Four and the X-Men to get here sooner than later, and you need to roll them out right. Because the reason why the first phase worked so good is because there wasn't a Kate Bishop, there wasn't a Miss Marvel, there wasn't a She-Hulk. You had Hulk, you had Hawkeye, you know, you had Iron Man, you had Captain America, you had iconic characters that are ingrained in our society and our fandom. You need the Fantastic Four to carry the weight. You need the X-Men to carry the weight so that people can have an opportunity to get introduced to these new people and let these people like carry out some feats of awesomeness, which like, look what they're doing with Doctor Strange. Like at this point, he's established. So they're rolling out some newer characters with him. You got American Chavez coming. So she has a real opportunity to come in and shine and really let us fall in love with her as new fans. Cause I'm not familiar. I know who she is. I don't read her comics or follow her, but now I get to go in there and hope she does some cool stuff and get to fall in love with the character. She's not burdened with carrying a franchise on her infant legs. You know what I mean? That's really not fair to do to these characters. And I'm like, it's really the same thing that I'm kind of concerned with, like just bring it back into comics. Cause I know there's a lot of people critical about DC's Dark Crisis coming because they're rolling out the Justice League that was teased in Future State with John Kent, Yara Flor, Jackson Hyde. All of these characters I absolutely love. And I'm telling people you have to give them a chance. Like, don't quit trash talking them. If you've never read a book they're in, go check out what they can do, because we saw a little tease what they're capable of and how well that dynamic worked. And I think Joshua Williamson's getting kind of smart with it, where he's letting like the Titans be like the flagship people that they look up to. You know, he's not burdening them with the responsibility of carrying the world on their back. They're looking up to other people. Just because they're the Justice League doesn't mean they're their parents, you know, like, so I think we're going to, for me at least, there's a lot of a lot of flopping with like the MCU stuff, burdening these newer characters with this much responsibility. You know, it's just.
And the other thing is how well do we think, or do we know the TV shows will translate and mesh into the MCU when we start cranking out movies?
Yeah, that Miss Marvel's movie, or The Marvels, it's supposed to have Monica, Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And from the sound of Mark, Monica and Kamala are going to have to pull some weight.
Well, Monica, they gave her a break. They rolled her out in WandaVision to establish character. And Monica was cool as hell.
Yes.
Like, she was tough. Like when she was determined, and that scene when you actually see her pushing her way through the force field and getting bombarded, you're seeing it happen. Like you're watching her origin go down, and you have an idea of this woman. You have an idea of her like sheer determination, and now she has the ability to put with it. You're like, you just know like some cool stuff is coming for her, you know.
But and again, they also put her with some familiar faces. You put her in WandaVision. You put her with what's the FBI agent's name?
I forget it. He was hilarious from Ant-Man 2.
Yeah, with the card trick. When he pulled out the card trick in the middle of like episode 3 or 4, I was like, I remember that. I know that callback. But they put it with him and Darcy. They surrounded her with a lot of familiar people.
That's a good point, DJ. Knowing that Miss Marvel is attached to a kids rated whatever you want to call it,
rated G.
I only assume that they'll bring. They're not going to introduce this character to a younger audience and have them get attached to it to try to bring them in, and then just send those kids to a movie where your characters are getting it on.
Okay.
Well, there wasn't much in the. I see the reaction coming. There wasn't much in the Miss Marvel movie in the first place that was really hard for kids.
Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo is who I was looking for. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, I think it's just a weird phase that MCU's in. Like it should be like phase 4, then phase ? At this point. Like,
well, let me just touch on that. So the first saga, you said they leaned heavily into the comics. Sure, they went to something that was 35 years old. The Infinity Saga, the Infinity War, is essentially 35 years old. We don't know where they're going right now. Obviously, the Multiverse of Madness may point us in that direction. If we're getting the Marvel Illuminati in there, they can't do the Marvel Illuminati without Reed Richards. So at some point, I think they're going to go. Like you said, the placeholder is going to have to be put on the Fantastic Four, and to a little bit of a lesser extent, the X-Men, because they're not going to give us the same X-Men that we had from Fox, for the last 15, 20 years as well. They may use a couple of franchise characters. Obviously, they're going to have to use Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm.
I don't think we're going to get Logan.
We may get X-23. We may get Dagan. Who knows? But either way, it's not going to be the same X-Men. It's probably going to be a little bit more of a multicultural one. I would expect Jubilee to be probably at the forefront there as well.
She's been in every one so far.
Yeah, but it has to be the Fantastic Four. At this point, there's just without the Avengers being the Avengers anymore, they have to lean towards another powerhouse title, one that has multitude of fantastic stories. Not that wasn't supposed to be spectacular stories that they have 65 years worth of telling. And if they go that route, we know that we're going to get Galactus, except this time we're going to get the real Galactus, not just a Dark Cloud. And Paul touched on it earlier. So Oscar Isaac may not be around for just one, but at this point they're setting up Moon Knight to look like just an avatar at this point. So we could even get a female Moon Knight. I believe Paul mentioned that a little earlier in the chat, and I think he's absolutely correct. You're not going to put out. They did a lot of press for this character rolling out. I feel like they did a lot more press for this than they did for Falcon and Winter Soldier. And to me, just looking back at them all, I never thought I'd say this, but I thought WandaVision is probably the best of the Disney Plus stuff.
Me and
Elizabeth Olsen did a
that.
powerhouse job acting in that.
Yeah,
And
that final line just seals the whole show.
Yep.
In it. What is love? What if it's grief, if not love, enduring? It's just like you just die inside. Oh God!
she did a fit. Just looking back at it, like I think that's probably the strongest of all of them. But each show basically just introduced a young Avenger in the end, and except for, well, yeah, I guess her two children will probably be in the Young Avengers as well. This is just setting up another Avengers team. But again, yeah, like House of L is saying here, they're really gonna have to lean on Ryan Reynolds. They're really gonna have to lean on Deadpool.
Oh, that's
they're really
gonna.
But right now,
I think everyone's desensitized to Ryan Reynolds anymore.
But right
he
now,
is only just Ryan Reynolds and everything, and I do not trust Disney with Deadpool, not one bit.
I don't trust Disney with anything.
Yeah.
But right now, we don't even have
Where's
a Deadpool comic,
movies?
right?
Where are my Alien movies? I'm so sick and tired of not having Alien.
Where's Predator?
No. That one too, yeah. But definitely Alien. What the? Oh. You know, I see Disney as having a much bigger problem right now, and I think I haven't seen Moon Knight, so I can't speak directly to that. But in marketing, the golden rule is if you are trying to speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. And I think the early MCU stuff got attention because it was something new and different at the moment. It was characters that people were familiar. There was a built-in fan base there, but everybody was really intrigued to see what they were going to be able to do with cinema. And then where the MCU really took off, where it really hooked people, was once they broke into doing genre films that incorporated comic book characters, right? So then you get like the Winter Soldier. It's like, man, this movie's amazing because it's like the spy thriller, you know? And they did this whole run of stuff where like they could kind of polarize people to genres they liked. And then they kind of lost that because they got into like this big, like bombastic overarching thing. And so you look at something like the Eternals, right? What was the biggest problem with Eternals? Nobody knew who it was for. They should have either done a movie comparable to Dune and carved out a new space in the MCU, or they should have just made it a fun action genre flick for the standard MCU experience, and they would have had an audience. But it kind of flopped because nobody knew who it was for, right? And it sounds like what I'm hearing y'all say about Moon Knight is kind of the same thing. They're not willing to lean into like a street level brawler and just get violent with it, but they're also not willing to lean into like all the mental illness aspects of it and really dig into the psychology of it all. And I think if they would do one of those two things, people would be in love with it and people would hate it, but you would get this vocal minority, you know? And you see HBO and Warner Brothers doing a great job with this. Zack Snyder, people know that whether they like or don't like his stuff, and you see how vocal his audience is, right? And I even saw a statistic recently, and I know everybody's about to start typing in about how much they love country music, but you like a specific type of country music. The reason country music has such a dedicated fan base is because it actually speaks to so few people that they're so unified in their fandom for it. And that, I think, is where Disney is going to run into their biggest problem is they're such a big brand. In order to make the kind of money they need to keep all of this moving, they have to appeal to everybody. But you will never be able to speak to everybody. If you're trying to speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. And I think that's the problem they're running into right now.
So, does that mean?
It's funny you said that because the Netflix movies the Netflix television shows did that, and like one of my favorite ones is Luke Cage, and obviously I'm a white guy and I watched Luke Cage and I thought that was fantastic. And then reading
what have to do with it?
No, I'm just saying because that was a Black experience show. That was a Black experience show. It was set in New York City. In the parts where it was more of it's set in Harlem, where it was more of an African American community, and they talked about that. The nightclub was basically a nightclub for African Americans. But as a white guy, I thought it was a fantastic show.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Chris, I'm a black guy who likes a little country music too. So there we go. I got you. I got what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying. So like. Where they decided to tell a story from one perspective, and to me, it worked beautifully. That's why why Black Panther was so good as well. They stuck to that whole. The whole genre is going to be based entirely African American cast, and I loved it. And so just expand up what Ryan's saying. They're trying to please everyone, and it didn't work out. All right, let's talk about hockey bags then.
Well, I mean, even if you look at like Black Dynamite, right? Great movie. It appealed to a lot of people, but how many people do you know that weren't into Black Dynamite? Like the blaxploitation thing is great.
I
but,
am smiling.
There's a huge demographic that's not on YouTube right now watching this video that are not into blaxploitation stuff. So Luke Cage has an audience, of course, but we're a certain breed.
But it kind of fits the mold you were talking about, where it's kind of made for a smaller niche group, even though other people watch it and enjoy it because that makes it quality. But it's kind of like for a smaller group. Yeah,
it was aimed at a smaller audience, and as long as it delivered to that audience, the show can succeed because it's a small audience relative to everybody out there. But that small audience by itself makes up a successful show if that audience by itself is pleased with it.
And if that audience spreads the word to other people may come in and become part of that audience.
I said as a white guy. As a white guy.
Can we give it up to Chris? Give him the courage to come out as white.
As a white guy. I thought Luke Cage was the best of them all. All right, enough of this.
Yeah, you if you find your 1,000 true fans, you can make anything and continue to do it because they're diehards. They're going to buy everything you put out, and so that's what has worked well for a lot of other things. But I think that's where Disney's missing it. They need their 1,000 true fans, or in their case, 1 million and 2 million and 10 million and a billion.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's so hard to if you're Disney though. That's a thing, because like I said, one of the big things I worry about is that bar that's been set, and I don't know. I feel like to try and match that bar or exceed it, they may try to appeal to everyone, and it may or may not work.
That's taking it back to Moon Knight. That's the problem that I have when it gets serious and he hits the ground. Lands as not Mr. Knight, but Mr. Knight, and then bumbles and goes goofy. And so, the whole committing.
That's two different audiences.
Commit to what you're doing.
That's the thing. That's the thing about Feige, at least coming out early on and saying that it's going to be this. It's going to be this brutal show and everything. I think, and it may still be there. I don't think they have the marketing with the fist and the little crescent thing that's all bloody for no reason. So it's probably still there. Like I told you, I think that there's things because the critics have seen 1 through 4. I assume a lot of things are going to be in episodes 5 and 6 that we're looking for, but that's a long time away. What is this?
Loki tried to appeal to everyone, or just the people who have trouble sleeping?
Wait a minute. I like Loki.
I enjoyed it.
I like Loki. They really got me with President Loki. I thought President Loki was going to be like this dude that I get to enjoy and like, and he kind of came and went in 3 minutes with one hand. Like what?
I don't think he was cool at all. I think that if Mr. Knight came off as cool, I would assume that we read it wrong. Because he was supposed to be, how did you say, kind of goofy and bumbling? That's
right.
Exactly
just comedic relief that wasn't necessary.
But like I said, everybody's calling it Mr. Knight, but I don't think it's actually Mr. That's the suit. The suit is there, but that is not what I would consider
response kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think I would consider that Mr. Knight. But like a lot of people kind of know that the suit before there was Mr. Knight, the suit did appear in one book in the comics just because he needed it to get out of the situation. and then this Detective Flint kind of dubs him Mr. Knight, starting in the Ellis run. So I don't look at him as Mr. Knight when people say, "Oh, that was Mr. Knight." I don't look at him that way, but I do think he can become.
I don't know. I don't know. I have no clue. I'm just buckling up and along for the ride. I tell you, I am excited to watch each episode, and get through it. Wonder what's coming next. That is one of the cool things. Whether the shows really deliver or land, I always have that intrigue to see. I wonder what they're going to do, because I know that there's been great things that have happened in the MCU, like amazing things. But the more I stopped and thought about it, how much of those things were because of the people who actually are in control of it now, or because of what was handed to them. And I'm beginning to honestly think that it was all because of what was handed to them. And the proof is in the pudding, or better called, the proof is in the Star Wars. Because since Disney's picked up Star Wars, they've had two good things happen, and everything else was a total trash fest. And that was Rogue One and The Mandalorian. Besides that, they have utterly failed in epic proportion, like nothing I've ever seen before. It's a disgrace.
Logic Blaster has a good point there. The multiverse stuff is totally targeted at fans. Yeah, it was a beautiful film to look at. It was a beautiful film to look at. Yeah, the multiverse stuff is totally targeted at fans, not intended for the normal fans. That's a good point. That's a good point.
We can't get into Eternals too deep, because I'll start a whole Eternals debate, and we'll be here till midnight with people trying to convince me that Eternals was terrible.
I thought it was good. Yeah, I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good.
Oh, right. Dude, you backpedaled some.
No,
dude, you should have been
it's
here.
It's a beautiful film to look at.
Chris said, "This is a historic event."
No, because this film will be a starting point for a lot of things to happen. That's true.
I think it's struggled with a few things. I think Ryan's point. I don't know if Ryan made this point about Eternals, but I think the point about the two conflicting ideas. If rumors are to be believed, the MCU did want more of an action movie, and the director wanted more of a artsy kind of movie, and they tried to mash those two together, and it didn't work right.
Yeah, like the visuals, you could tell like her cinematic eye was gorgeous.
Yes,
it's like beautiful film. Like the camera angles and the perspectives with the fight scene, watching Icarus do his thing, gorgeous. Like it was beautiful to look at. It was just the flow of the movie was trash, and then you had the comic relief that would come in and like just ruin there was nothing smooth about it. There was nothing up and down about it. It was just you just get hit this way, then you get hit this way, and
I love Kumail Nanjiani, but he was absolutely awful in that movie.
Who?
Everywhere he came in, Kumail, the guy with the finger guns or whatever,
the comic.
I love him in like everything, and then in that movie, he just showed up like at the worst moment all the time. It was good. Like to me, like the Eternals would have been great if they had leaned into just like making something that fits more in the category of like Dune, just like this more serious psychological epic, like if they had made a true epic out of it, I think it would have been great, but they were just like so interested in trying to appeal to their MCU fan base, and it kind of fell apart on them.
What? Right. What did he do? What am I looking at here? What? Y'all, The Last Jedi was the best one. just as
I haven't watched anything Star Wars since The Last Jedi.
Stop it. Come on.
Wait, is that episode 8? Episode 8's the last Star Wars thing I ever watched.
This is DC's moment. They're getting
when they kill off Luke unnecessarily.
This is what's historically happened with the DC movies. Like whenever they start to get any footing, when they get a plan laid out, like this is 2 times now. You go back to 2015, like you lay out a plan, you see where you're going, you start lining stuff up, and something happens. And it messes up what you were going to do. Now we have this Ezra crap, Aquaman's pushback. Like it was already like very, very advantageous to try to pull all this stuff off through the COVID timing. And I know with COVID timing, it really put these movies really close together getting done. And that is kind of dumb to release all 4 in 1 year. Like when you look at, you're giving your movies no time to make their full potential of money with merchandising and rolling out on platforms and stuff where people are still excited about it. So they spend money again to get it digitally or buy a Blu-ray or whatever. But I don't know. Like it's in a weird place right now. They gotta take each step careful, or they can really tank this. You know.
I think right now the MCU is trying to please.
That's actually what I thought after I want to say after Batman vs Superman. I thought to myself that as we're wrapping up like phase 3 of the MCU, if the MCU, as we're saying now, slows down any little bit, if you hit your good solo movies, hit good stories for your characters in DC, by the time there is an actual Justice League movie, I know everybody likes the 4-hour Snyder movie, but I always I like some of the stuff in it, but I can't stick to it. I had to watch it in 2 pieces.
You should have watched it in 4. It was maybe watched in 4 or 1. 4 or 1.
But I always thought that the rush to the Justice League originally was a bad move, and they should have like the MCU told solo stories and then built up to whatever you wanted to do with the Justice League. But they kind of rushed to it, and now they have a chance again to roll out solo stories and build more of a fan base and do some great things. And we've got 3 delays.
I think they were onto something with how iconic and known Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman is, and they're not telling origin stories for them at that point. Like you didn't really need to, and they brought Wonder Woman in during Batman and Superman, and they laid out the Easter eggs on Lex's computer. So it was kind of a smart way to do it, and especially being around and in the public eye as much as they were. Like it definitely could have. I know they didn't want to just
That's something I would say.
They didn't want to mimic what came before, but I don't know. It just like it's that whole change up because they did have the plans for the movies after the fact. You know how their origins were tied into why they were in Justice League and stuff like that. And just I think it worked perfectly well because nobody on the planet who would go see Justice League doesn't know the Flash is, thanks to the Flash being himself, or because of the CW success of the show. You see him in stores. He's everywhere. He's actually a household character now. Like you're really only being introduced to Cyborg, and thanks to Joss Whedon, you didn't even get introduced to him. He was just automatically all of a sudden,
which is terrible.
Terrible.
Once I saw
the soul of that movie, when you actually
I saw the Snyder cut, I'm like, how did y'all cut all of this?
All of it.
Like he's carrying like a lot of the emotional weight of the movie.
All the emotional weight. Like
and
that's what him and his dad do. That's
hell of a football player too.
When he puts that tape back together and finally has the stomach to listen to that, like and listen to his dad's final message to him, like it's just crazy how good that was. And his whole self-discovery scene with his dad dialoguing, like talking about the entire world's nuclear arsenal is just at the tip of your finger, and its entire monetary system and the complexities. It's not going to be a question of what will you do with them. It'll be a question of will you be able not to do anything with them? Like just some like goosebumps. Like this is just in the casting. Like say what you will, Ray Fisher played the hell out of that role. Like he had all the torment, like the way that he like went back and forth with his dad, and I don't know, man. He nailed it. He nailed it.
I think the MCU, off the monstrous success of Black Panther, figured they need to dial into different cultures. That's why we had Shang-Chi arrive, and they wanted to play into that Asian culture and try and lure those fans in there. And with the Eternals, the whole almost southern Asian thing, they wanted to lure those people in as well. Right now, they just seem to be, and with Ms. Marvel, they're going to be doing the exact same thing. Okay, if this is the avenue they want to go down to, where the next big crossover thing is going to be all these different cultures being represented in a film, okay, we'll see how that goes. But it's really where I feel they're going right now. They're just trying to dial into different cultures. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I won't see all that myself, but they're gonna have to make good decisions along with it. You can't. We need an icon movie. I need to jump
into Young Justice. That's the most we've seen him is in Young Justice.
Yeah. Yeah, I never. I can say this by just looking at.
It's pretty accurate.
I just the saddest thing about Justice League is that no one would hit the brakes for Zack Snyder when Autumn passed away. To me, that was the biggest letdown of everything. Why wouldn't they just take 60 days, 90 days, hit the brake? I'm sure the unions would have been fine with it. This is the director's vision we're talking about here. Hit the brakes. He just lost his daughter. For the love of God, pump the brakes. That just goes to show the type of people that were at the helm at the time decided to piggyback it off someone who Marvel basically had given up on.
They didn't. Well, it went in before that. They saw an opportunity. There's no secret that WB doesn't trust the creators that it was hiring. They're just now starting to show any sign of finally letting go and letting their creators create. That's what you hire them to do. But you've seen nothing but interference with Snyder stuff, which we've talked about before. It's on him to a degree. You're given a parameter to work in, and he far exceeds it. He goes beyond it, and then they don't want to let it roll out, and then they cut it down to like you can't expect it to be good, just to throw that out there. If you're going to take away the story flow, you get Eternals. Like you're going to feel that unsmoothness with it. But look at Watchmen was just condensed for time, but like the longer the extended cut, you see how much smoother it flows. I mean, the theatrical cut doesn't flow poorly. I mean, it's very accurate to the comic in the way Alan Moore wrote it. But you look at Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition, it is insane the way that movie actually flows. There's no hard edits. The story, the sub-story that they cut out of it explains the entirety of the nuances of that movie, of how Lex orchestrates everything, the story Lois was working on, and how interwoven it was. Like, they took all of that out. It's insanity. And then obviously Justice League, they were happy to see an opportunity to get past Zack Snyder, and it just backfired. And then they tried to die on that hill, and thank God for HBO Max, who made it all happen. And thank God to all of you out there right now, whether you liked it or not, you watched it, and it was the biggest success that HBO Max has had to date by far.
Restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah. Warner Brothers has had a long history of like corporate culture versus creators, and completely screwing up that vision. Yeah. And we're kind of seeing that start to come to fruition with Disney. Like the Marvel stuff. Like, there was a good point. Like, whenever the Russo brothers came in, that was very like creator driven. Like, they were. Not that they were hands off, but they kind of trusted the creators at that point. And then you see stuff like the Eternals, where it's like clearly her vision was massaged and manipulated. Mm-hmm. And I'm concerned going forward, we're going to see more corporate culture from Disney start to kind of mess with the creative vision that their creators they're hiring have. We even saw it with like James Gunn. That was a different situation that got him kicked out. But we see what Warner Brothers getting out of the way with him let him do versus what Disney was trying to do whenever they first let him go, and they've kind of seen the light on that and brought him back. So hopefully Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be awesome. But, there was a lot of restrictions to his creativity and like the way he is as a person based on the way they just up and let him go over all that stuff, and then he went to DC. They kind of like took their hands off of it and let him make a great movie out of, the Suicide Squad. And now Disney's like kind of regretting that. So I think it'll be interesting to see what Disney does moving forward to like maintain this massive fan base and income amount they need to keep everything rolling the way they need to, but also like let their creators create.
Thanks, Brother John. Yeah, it just, to me, when I found out that his daughter passed away and they didn't pump the brakes for, like I said, 60, 90 days, like why? And then they kind of get caught up in the glitz. Oh my God, Joss Whedon's going in. He did the Avengers. He did Age of Ultron. Terrible. I just thought, okay, well, we'll see what happens. And if we got what we got, and I was okay with it. I didn't think it was as good as Batman versus Superman, which I thought was good. I was one of the few that thought it was good. And then we got the Suicide Squad. Then you start to hear things about the Suicide Squad is supposed to be different, and that Justice League is supposed to be different, and that there's two different cuts. Well, why is that? Well, that's because the people at the helm of Warner Brothers at the time didn't care. And this is
David
now
Ayers
why.
does not make poppy, colorful movies. If
No.
you go back, you can find the
Right.
first promos and stuff for that movie, like the neon lights around the logo of Suicide Squad. It wasn't there. It was gray, black, and red. Like it was very gritty, like very end of watchy, you know, like that. Very Fury. Like look at his entire catalog of movies. You can tell like he has his artistic signature on everything.
Yes,
It looks like his movies. You can tell certain directors make a movie just by watching the movie.
He's a hell of a director too.
Can we roll back? Did you say David Ayer made Fury?
Fury with Brad Pitt and John Bernthal, like
right.
Woo!
Yeah. So I never knew who made that, but that I enjoyed that movie.
That was a hell of a
like,
film.
I'm glad you brought it up.
You can see Suicide Squad and tell he made it, but then you add in all those colorful cut scenes and lay down the music track that they wanted because Guardians came out around the same time. And but if you peel that away, you're left with a David Ayers movie. Like just picture Will Smith at the end when like all the water's coming down and pulling his gun up in slow-mo going through. Like that's David Ayers all day. End of Watch with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena when they're the two cops that are taking on the local gang presence in LA, you know, when they go in hard and steal all those guns from him. Like, dude, he is a phenomenal. He did Bright with Will Smith, God rest his soul, and I forget who played. It's like it's on Netflix, but he's a police officer, and it's like fairy tale stuff is real, but it's done very gritty, very realistic, and like the fairy tale creature.
Like End of Watch meets
Hellboy 2.
Sorta, yeah. Shadowrun, if you're familiar with that, it's like that meets End of Watch. Like it's pretty cool.
And then
effing King
decides
Kong.
they know better than he does, and we're going to go over what you just made. Like, come on, man.
Well, and you know the biggest problem with Suicide Squad, it is, but the biggest problem with Suicide Squad, they shot that movie for 45 days with no script. 45 days. Like they were just like putting people in front of a camera and just being like, this character's like this, do something, you know? And then they took that footage plus what they started filming once they actually had a script and a story to film against. And that's what you get is like a shit show. There's like some great stuff in there, but you really got to dig for
it. Yeah, Bright was super cool.
Yeah, like DJ Link said, it was better than it had any right to be. It was really cool.
But you think about who made it, and that's why it was good. Yeah, that's John Bernthal's best performance to date in any movie. The actor who plays Punisher. And if you buy the Blu-ray, I dare you to watch the special features without crying.
Yeah, it could
be like the action in that movie is like so good, but then you get like those key character moments when they're just like sitting in the tank having a conversation. You're like, come on, man, machine! Oh, it's so good.
And the young guy that survives, I swear, looks like one of the Marines I served with. Almost look just like him. I tell him that like 3 times. He tells me I'm wrong, but yeah.
Well, guys, we've been going for an hour and a half. We haven't touched a single comic book. At this point in the game, what's your top pick of the week? What's your favorite book of this week? Chris, what was yours?
The Final Black Widow. For real.
No, I was just waiting on you to tell us more about it.
Oh, it wraps up. So this is the final. Let me pull it up here. I thought you were like waiting for me to say, "No, I'm kidding."
No, you brought that book up numerous times through this run.
Yeah, this is the final Kelly Thompson Black Widow. It ends here. Kind of. I'm not going to say it ends on a cliffhanger because it doesn't. It doesn't. The whole human trafficking storyline comes to an end. She has her arm taken off by Swordmaster.
Does he put it back on?
And there's another character called Starfish that puts the arm back on, and
Starfish is slang for butthole.
Yeah. The good old Rusty Sheriff Patch. No, Starfish. Thank you. Good night. We
with the straight face now.
It wraps up nicely. The whole clan that was doing the human trafficking ended up getting taken down by a team of Natasha, her sister. Hawkeye shows up, and the Winter Soldier, thankfully, who chocolate starfish, and yeah, it was a good run. From all campiness and corniness, I'm just saying right now, it was actually a good run. If you get the trade for dirt cheap, pick it up. It's a real good story. Yeah, rusty sheriff badge.
Flash, what was your top pick from this week? Your favorite read, whatever it was, cover?
I'm going to surprise everyone. Moon Knight, issue number 10.
Canadian Jed McKay.
Topical.
Okay, so we have the almost Arachnite cover, because I didn't really like the A cover much when I first saw it, but then after I read the story inside, the A cover really makes sense. So Moon Knight has been dealing with this Zodiac character in the background, kind of, and we've also been playing Monster of the Week, and we've got this Rutherford Winter, who Jed McKay created in a Daughters of the Dragon book, and he breaks out a couple of issues ago, and he's looking for Moon Knight, and Jed McKay, knowing what you know about the character, kind of takes the character, and when he finds Moon Knight, he's looking for Moon Knight because he's looking for his therapist, and he thinks Moon Knight has hurt his therapist. And it turns out that Moon Knight also wants to know what the therapist is, even though the therapist is in the book, and that's because the therapist is not in the book. Some old character named Waxman, who got created in a old Spider-Woman book, I think Spider-Woman 17, actually kidnapped her, and he's been posing as the therapist the whole time. And what I think is starting to happen is that Zodiac is trying to push Moon Knight back to his more violent roots, because Moon Knight hasn't been ultra lethal violent in a while. Like I said before, he didn't get invited to the Civil War by either side, because back then, if you were a Moon Knight villain, you didn't last long. But I think Zodiac is trying to push him that way, and the book ends with the words "There will be blood," and then Moon Knight just walks off. That was my little read of the week, because a lot of callbacks, a lot of effort put into it, I think.
Yeah,
but Jed's been doing that for a lot of his books, though, kind of going into the Marvel vault and finding interesting deep cut characters to kind of mix into his storytelling.
Yeah, he's a good writer. Good Canadian boy.
Plus it's Moon Knight.
I've heard nothing but positive stuff about this run. Is it true that it's pretty much been a bunch of one-shots? Like, not like one-shots, but they're all like standalone issues, or is it telling like a continuation story?
There's a cohesive story deep below the one-shots. They are all pretty much one-shot stories, but Zodiac, who is the primary villain for these two stories, has popped up twice. But he's been playing Moon Knight the whole time since Jed McKay's run started. And I think their actual confrontation is going to happen in issue number 12, and somebody's not going to make it out.
And was there a new character introduced this run? Early on or something? I don't know. I haven't been following. I feel like I remember someone like Hunter's Moon or something like that.
Yeah. So Dr. Bader / Hunter's Moon was introduced, and I think going forward he's gonna be a good ally to Moon Knight, they kind of have different ideas because both of them there are two fists of Khonshu now. There's Hunter's Moon and there's Moon Knight. And Hunter's Moon, I think, is more loyal to Khonshu because he hasn't been down the roads that Mark has with Khonshu yet. Mark knows if you watch episode 2, Khonshu kind of turned it on in the last 10 minutes. It's like, you think that's your body? This is my body. You'd be dead if it wasn't for me. You do this, or I'll take Layla as my new Moon Knight. Like, but so that's who Khonshu is. But I don't think Dr. Bader or Hunter's Moon kind of knows that yet because he's new. He just knows that Khonshu saved his life, and now he owes Khonshu, and he should be loyal. But that character, I don't know how much he's going to do with Reese, this new vampire that he created. But there's that character. Technically, Rutherford Winter was created in the Daughters of the Dragon book was digital only, and then I think came out in a trade. So I guess the first solo issue appearance of Rutherford Winter, if he becomes anything, is in Moon Knight issue number 10. So he's made some new ones up, but he's also dug in and grabbed some deep cuts, some C, D, E level villains, and kind of gave them some spotlight. I think what's the guy's name? 8-Ball, who has the big 8-ball forehead or whatever.
Like a Dick Tracy villain.
Yes, yeah. He got spotlight for 2 or 3 issues. And he's Moon Knight's friend and the Devil's Reign tie-in.
Yeah, I'm behind on it. I like to say that I'm going to try to trade read some stuff and catch up, but I don't know where I'll ever have time. By the time I have time to trade read, I don't think it'll even be relevant anymore.
That's what I tell people. I'll tell people that I'll catch up on something that I didn't read, but my catch up list is so long.
I feel that.
Stuff adds to it a lot faster than it comes off, that's for sure. Ryan, do you have a read of the week?
You know what, man? I came in here with pretty empty-handed on that, but as we were sitting here talking, I thought about it. 2 of you are going to be kind of familiar with how hard I'm pushing this, but Brian K. Vaughan, his Substack, his Spectators Substack thing, has me interested in reading everything he's written at this point, because the amount of layers that he's putting out, and he puts it out in these little chapters. I'm sitting here right now just excited for tomorrow morning when I wake up and the new chapter is in my inbox, because there's just so many layers to the social commentary and kind of the cultural commentary, and it's so subtle that I think people are missing it, but it's incredibly awesome. And so the Spectators thing he's putting out on Substack, basically the first chapter, right? It starts and they're you're watching people in a theater, right? And the theater even has a big banner, welcome back to theater, whatever. And so it gives you the impression this is them coming back to the theater after the pandemic and stuff, right? And so they're sitting there, the movie's about to start, and they start hearing gunshots, and they're all confused. Everybody's like, what should we do? They're trying to figure out what they should do and everything. And this active shooter comes in, and this fool is wearing Disney ears. And if that's not enough commentary based on everything I've said tonight about Disney owning the media world, there's so much to this, man. And that last chapter, kind of started the sort of the next little arc or whatever. And it really kind of put the cap on what did all this mean and where is it headed. And I'm excited for the next chapter of that. It's completely free. There's only one Substack I pay for up until recently, actually. But the one Substack I pay for is Scott Snyder's comic writing class and stuff. So I've been studying that. But Brian K. Vaughan puts out this book for free. So if you have any interest in Brian K. Vaughan or cool layered writing with social commentary and stuff in there, check it out because it's free. So Substack.com, Exploding Giraffe.
Should be pretty easy to remember. You don't hear the 2 words exploding and giraffe side by side too often. But now that I have, I will not forget them.
Nobody wants to see that, though, right? No, those peaceful animals.
The Hangover 3? The Hangover 3. when he bought the giraffe shorty and he was driving down the highway in the overpass. All right,
Caught him
there
on a
were
bridge.
some good reads this week for sure, from that Batman Flashpoint one shot to Batman Beyond to the Suicide Squad book. But I didn't have as much fun reading any of those as I had reading issue 1 of The Rocketeer, The Great Race, that dropped this week. This was ridiculously fun. I'm a big fan of the movie from the 90s. I grew up watching it nonstop. Finn and I watch it. He loves it even. But this had all those vibes, all those feels. The whole concept was Cliff's trying to put the rocket up so that him and his old lady can kind of get to somewhat of a normal life. And just keeping with the theme of the book, there's a race, an aviation race coming, and an inventor who has a plane in it with some experimental mechanics in the plane that he's hoping to win needs an ace pilot. He goes to Cliff. And of course, you got Nazis as the bad guys because it's World War II era, and they're wanting that technology. So they have the Iron Baron entering the race, and there's a lot of corporate sabotage. There's a lot of just sabotage on the racers' levels. And he's entering this with his old lady's go ahead because it should be safer than flying with a rocket on your back, and not knowing the danger that they're getting into. So he heads off to enter the race. And of course, he takes the rocket with him. And I'm sure it's just going to continue to get awesome. You have a lot of the whole the whole scare at home kind of stuff. Like there's reports of Nazis setting up camp in your backyard and going to try to find out. And I don't know. It was just fun. It had all those feels of the show and everything, a high adventure and everything. And you get that Howard Hughes cool feel to it and all that. It was really cool. If you're a fan of The Rocketeer, if you like that movie or anything, I would highly suggest checking this out. It was dope. Beautiful artwork in it too.
Fire!
But yeah, I'm not going to keep y'all any longer. And what I mean by that is I'm not going to let y'all keep me any longer because I have to work tomorrow again. So I appreciate everybody hopping on tonight. Y'all want to go around the horn and talk about what you got going on this week on your channels?
All right. So if I unpress the lazy button, I may do a review and a defense of Steven video sometime before episode 3 drops.
Dress like Murdoch for it.
if not, you can always catch me Thursday around 12:30 Central doing my new comic book day in the premiere. And then whenever I drop my little grain of salt reviews, they'll be there too.
I got to give a quick shout out to Spider-Punk #1. That was actually a good read as well. You got to see Earth 138, which is a playoff off a punk band's song 138, which is a playoff of THX 1138. Riri Williams is in this entire world as Riot Heart, not Ironheart. And almost every scene in that story plays off a different punk band, a major punk band's song. So I thought that was very well done. I hope they carry it on to issue 2. Tomorrow I will be opening a mystery box that a lot of people have been talking about lately from this young man.
Oh, we crushed him.
Ooh.
Talk about a fantastic wave of mystery boxes. I will be opening that tomorrow. Tuesday, I will be having a mail unboxing. Actually, there will be one from this handsome young man over here as well. He sent me some mail, and I'll be opening that amongst a few other things. Wednesday, I invite everyone who's watching and everyone on this panel to come and hang out on my channel for New Comic Book Day, where we get to show off the books that we got. Thursday, I'll be opening some Walmart packs. Apparently, I should be looking for Ruby #8 when it comes to DC stuff. And I do have some DC packs right here I'm going to be opening as well. Saturday, I'll be on Slab Hub. And Sunday, I'll probably be back here again. That's it. Oh, one more thing. At some point in the next 6 or 7 days, I will be announcing all the books I'm going to be giving away for my 700 subscriber push because I just crossed over 650 yesterday. Thanks, everybody.
Man, I got like a lot of irons in the fire at the moment. Not all of them are public facing, but there's a lot of really good things happening right now. I'm pretty excited for these things to come to fruition. But if you want to check out something that I am doing right now, the number 160 is in spelled out 8.me is I'm kind of blogging there for now. So there's some cool stories coming out over there about life and where I'm at in that, and personal development, personal growth, and what the future looks like and how hard I'm working on all that. So you can check out that link. And other than that, who knows? I might pop up somewhere else this week.
I'm glad you caught that, X11. I put it in like, I wonder if he'll get it. I appreciate everyone hopping on tonight. If you haven't noticed already, Flash by Night, our special guest tonight, he is linked in the comment section at the top. You can click on that and get straight to his channel. Ryan dropped the link to that very confusing URL you just mentioned. And if you guys do care about Free Comic Book Day, it's right around the corner. We're just under a month away from it, and I will have the full preview of everything that's coming out for Free Comic Book Day available tomorrow at 7 a.m. It was a lot later to get to it this year than I was last year. I had it out like 3 months in advance last year, but times be crazy. But that was available to all the channel members for the past few days, but it'll go live to everybody else tomorrow. So be sure to check that out. There's some cool stuff coming. Definitely some cool stuff coming. And then Tuesday, no promises, but I'm hoping to be able to go live. Might just be later in the evening or whatever for the new DC Day. I do not have anything else planned for that day. So I'm going to have to do that one way or another. But I'm probably going to have to work Tuesday. But hopefully not the entirety of the day. And even if I do, I'll be able to do something that afternoon. Don't know. Subscribe to these guys and look at that weird link. I promise Ryan's not a Russian bot, despite the URL we just put in the comment section.
I promise the link makes more
sense. I-69? Come on, Ryan.
Oh, no.
It says I-68. He's working his way there.
Starfish, Rusty Sheriff Badge. This show's come off the rails. I'm out. Good night, everybody. We are Legion.
Appreciate all y'all coming on, and it was a good time. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.